Right, today we're going to get stuck into some network stuff and deal with the vehicles driving past on motorbikes and also the reflection on the glass here. Alright, so when I wired this up, I did this like an audio rack, and I had incomings and outgoings all on this patch panel so I can pop in and out from here to make little cross patches. Now the correct way to do this is really to have this right under here and just patch in that way. When I did all this, I ended up having to remove the shelf. It was getting in the way. I want my shelf back, partly because channel supporter Deadmeat has sent myself a what's this, a Ubiquiti Cloud Gateway or something like that. This is hard to hold. It's a Ubiquiti something. Yes, Cloud Gateway Ultra. So we will probably be doing something about replacing the Asus router up there as well. But I think it's probably a good time for me to shift this up, put my shelf in so I can put something else up here, and then also neaten the wiring. The other thing I do plan to do is bring my hosting home rather than relying on a hosting provider. I'm going to host my website and my email server from home on this Raspberry Pi 5 with an NVMe SSD and a few other bits that haven't yet arrived. Hopefully I can power it from PoE, which this router here does. Also thanks to Deadmeat. He provided me this and two others and a couple of rolls of fiber, which one of which is up there. Still got to string it under the house. So anyway, let's get moving. Or nuts. Previously I had my shelf here. I'm thinking if these patch leads will reach down here, I might leave it where it is and put my shelf in behind it. This thing is very heavy, and I wish there was like rack mounts on the back that stop it. Putting all that torsional force on that makes me a little uncomfortable. But we'll work with it as best we can. But yeah, moving it up, I risk kind of busting this off, and I can't really connect that without upsetting everybody's internet. So I might just leave it where it is. I'll put the shelf in, but I'll clear these out of the way, and that will make room. Now, I've just notified the two neighbors that are on my internet. They know that there will be some brief interruptions. So I'm going to start shifting some of these couplers around and working stuff out. Alright, so I've moved the first few. I've got these in the same order here. I need to change some labels now. So these are no longer router ports. We'll peel that sticker off. That is still my desk PC. So we've got a little bit to do yet. Alright, a couple of labels thanks to the label printer. We'll chop them down and stick them on. There we go. That one off. We'll stick some more on in a moment. Okay, things are starting to neaten up a little bit. Starting to work out where all these cables go. And we've got things in line. The port numbering is going to be a bit out of whack, but we'll figure that out. Alright, so this yellow one that says uplink, this one says router. So this one goes around to that port and back again. So I reckon what we're going to do, we'll dump everybody off the internet for a second. We'll move this along the back of everything. Plug you back in there. Alright, so hopefully nobody was offline too long, because that was everything on the internet. So now we can strip that one out too. Alright, so now we need to put another captive nut in. We've got a box of spare bits and pieces in here. We'll get that ready for the shelf. Okay, I had to unplug everything and plug it back in again real quick, but our shelf is in place, and we'll start loading stuff up there. Okay, two shelves in. Now to put the screws in. Okay, a bunch of unnecessary labels are now gone. I can get into the router config and rename the ports as well within the router config later. There will be another SFP port, another fiber coming into that. At that point I will be labeling the fiber cables when I do that. But NTD connects here and it goes up to the router port up the top there. I can probably move that, but this cable's a nice length right at the moment. And it's a bit difficult for that to go straight up to that and down. Well, it's not difficult, but I want it presented here in case I need to mess around with things. Namely when it comes to time to put this thing in. Okay, so I had to take the sides off. I've got to move the power board up so that it doesn't miss it misses the plug back in there. Anyway, this is why racks have removable sides. Alright, power board is up further up now. We'll have a big gap and a narrow gap, and I think I've got a blanking plate for there too. We'll use it if we need it. Alright, the shelves are back in the way they intended. I don't know if I'll put my little blanking plate across here. I probably could, but don't think I'll need it just yet. You know what, yeah, I'll stick it in there, see what happens. I've got one that might fit up the top here too. Make it look nice and neat. Okay, so I have another one of these plates somewhere, can't find it, and this one doesn't fit in the top, so it's going to go there so I don't lose it. Anyway, now we can start to put stuff back in, which I realise I like to keep my stock of plugs up there, which means I'll probably just pull that blanking plate back out. But it looks good for the moment. I just took a few minutes to rename all the ports in here, so now that I can turn ports on and off and see what speed they're all at, and keep an eye on the SFP and PoE and all that other stuff. So good stuff. Alright, sides are back on, things are all in here, stuff's on the shelf. Need to print at least another label because my loop, I've got a big loop behind here, comes back to here. That just means if things are too far over this side or something like that, I can run them through the loop. It's just helpful. But I've got a lot of spare couplers in here to use now. A couple spare in the middle here that I can utilize for something else. And my little Raspberry Pi can sit up on one of these shelves and go into one of the PoE ports. So that'll be fine. I've got a Raspberry Pi 4 here that's going to go out to the Ambo and become the media machine. But much easier to follow things now. Like, I had everything labeled before and I knew what was going on, but I transplanted an older system that I had set up here with all sorts of remote stuff and unmanaged switches, and I put it into the rack and said, you know what, she'll be right later, I will rearrange it at some other time. Well, today is that some other time, so we're looking good. But now I'm going to wait till next week for Deadmeat to come and have a look at this cloud gateway and set it up for me, because he's much more of an expert on that than me. And while I have installed cloud gateways and ubiquity stuff and entire networks in the past, that was about 10 years ago, and quite a bit has changed in that time. So I definitely, if the help is available to me, I'm definitely going to take it. So we'll see you in the next video, and I hope this was an interesting quickie on some of the stuff I've been doing behind the scenes. See you later, and we'll try and get some more Land Rover and 8x8 content in there for you soon.